Hey everybody, Ross Pitcoff here. I wanted to provide my audience with a quick update on what's going on with the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. I had taken a look at the statute, which if you look at the legislation, it is very long. There's a lot to kind of comb through. But the Department of Labor has also set up a brief summary of what to expect from the act. Now, if you look at the summary at the Department of Labor's website, which is dol.gov/agencies/WHD, I would actually just go ahead and type in Department of Labor Family First Coronavirus Response Act and you'll be able to find it. But what it's basically saying is that there is going to be expanded family and medical leave in a couple of different situations. So considering we're in New York and we're all under quarantine, every single employee for a business of under 500 employees, no matter how long the employee's been working with your company, is going to be entitled to some sort of paid leave. Essentially, for full-time workers, that's going to amount to up to two weeks of full pay for those employees at their annual salary rate. Now, there is a cap on that. I think it's something of about $511 per day. That's not indicated in the summary on the DOL's website, but I did see that elsewhere. If you're in a jurisdiction which is not subject to mandatory quarantine and you need to care for your children or a loved one who is suffering from COVID-19, you're also going to be entitled to pay for up to 2 weeks in an amount of 2/3 of your typical salary. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. After those 2 weeks, of either the full pay for those who are quarantined or for the portion of the pay of 2/3 for those who are out of work but otherwise could go to work, which again doesn't really apply to New York, there's going to be up to an additional 10 weeks of pay for those who are forced to stay home in order to take care of their children, etc. And that will also be at 2/3 of the employee's regular rate of pay. Now, what gets interesting is that, again, every business that has 500 or fewer employees is covered here and is responsible for administering this. But with that being said, there's a hardship provision in the statute that basically says that if you're a business with less than 50 employees, you may not be subject to these requirements. Now, as for the paid leave for the employer side, what you need to know, you're entitled to a full reimbursement of these payments that you're going to be making. They're supposed to come through reimbursements through tax credits from the IRS on your quarterly payments, but if you have less than 50 employees, you can apply for hardship, which sounds like it means that either you won't have to make the payments at all, the payments would come directly from the government, and I'm speculating here, I'm not sure how this is going to play out, or it could be a scenario whereby you need to make the payments, but you'll be entitled to an immediate reimbursement from the federal government. The third and possible option is that insurance companies are going to be forced to wind up making those payments on behalf of the businesses. I did place a call into the Department of Labor this morning. Everything that I just told you was sort of summarized back to me by the DOL when I asked specific questions about how the hardship provision was going to work and how the specifics of the 2 weeks of mandatory pay was going to work. I sort of got responses that basically said, look, everything you've said is as much as we know. We're scrambling to figure this out, and we hope to be able to provide updated guidelines on the DOL's website shortly. That said, I did mention this idea that, well, when are these measures going to become effective? In other words, the statute basically calls for this to take effect starting April 2nd. The DOL said that, look, that's something that the government wants to see happen, but at the same time, right now, they just have no idea. So if you're a small business owner, hang tight. I know these are questions that we're going to want to have answered. If you're an employee, I know you're probably dealing with the anxiety of wondering whether or not you're going to be entitled to additional pay. But hang tight, hang in there. The DOL will issue updated guidelines. I don't know if it's going to be now. It seems like it may be a number of days off. I know that the Albany Department of Labor was last updated on this act this past Friday, and they don't know when they're going to be provided with another update. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment or post a little comment below. Shoot me a private message, whatever you like. Talk to you soon. Hope it's helpful. Thanks.